by a guy named Tan Ho. I think that's how you probably pronounce it. I think he's Swedish or something like that. But anyway, he takes an argument that that fans of sports, or when we become fans of sports, in the sense that we really want to see the person or the team that we're rooting for defeat the opponent, that's a form of fascism. Really an interesting article. I think that this article is, to me, the thoughts I had was this is kind of an example of where you end up going with morals and ethics when you don't really have a biblical basis. I felt like he had some really morally relativistic arguments, and I'm not going to say too much about that because I don't want to like have my opinions influence people in their readings, but yeah, I think you'll understand what I'm saying when you read through it. But some of his arguments I didn't think really had a very good moral basis, and were very interesting. The next article by Passan was really, in a lot of ways, kind of refuting Tanjo's. So Tanjo's argument that being a sports fan is a form of fascism. Basically, Passan argues that you can admire athletes and people who are involved in sports, and you can root for them to win, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have contempt for the people who don't win. And I think he made some pretty strong arguments there. Again, I'm not going to say too much about my own opinions, but yeah, he's just kind of refuting that. He did kind of take a different slant also in there, where he addresses genetic engineering a little bit and how that relates to it. And his argument, which is really the opposite of what Tanja would argue, is that genetic engineering, he believes, could actually contribute to fascism, or the fascistoid is the term that they use, view, because we ignore the well-being of the athlete. So it's more along the lines of, it's going to contribute to kind of our base human instincts, where we see certain people as superior because of what they can do, and genetic engineering would only add to that. And so that was kind of an interesting slant that he took there also. Yeah, again, it's kind of interesting to think about all these things and how they kind of relate to a Christian perspective. So as you read through these, I would encourage you to do that. I think some of the arguments in some of these readings fit well with a Christian perspective, and some of them don't. And I'm sure that when you read through, you'll kind of, again, get the gist of what I'm getting at there. The next article is by Dixon, and his article is kind of based on the whole idea of, is it really ethical to support sports teams? I really enjoyed that reading. It's a little bit lighter than the other ones in some ways, and so an easier read. But he argues that basically there's two camps, a partisan and a purist. And the partisans are those who pick a team and kind of support it through thick and thin, whereas the purist just picks a game to watch or a team to watch based on their ability to be good, like they're really in. The purist is really into just seeing quality performances and aesthetics and all of that type of thing. So yeah, he goes on further to kind of argue that a pure partisan, or a pure purist, if there is such a thing, neither one is great, because the partisan may ignore bad behavior and poor sportsmanship and some of that type of thing. So he argues that a moderate partisan is the ideal when it comes to being a sports fan. And not only does he say that it's ethical, but it's also virtuous to be a moderate partisan, because of the fact that there's a lot of positives of being loyal to a team and showing support and that type of thing. Um, but it's also positive because if you're moderate in your partisanship, if the team begins to be violent or show bad sportsmanship, there's a limit to your support, and you're gonna not support the team as much. So yeah, really interesting reading. I enjoyed that one quite a bit.